Good morning, everyone. Welcome in and welcome in. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Right accounts here. We are beautiful. Hopefully, this is a lot better price action than we've had for the past 3 trading days. Hopefully. We do have CPI tomorrow, so that's probably going to override what we're looking at in terms of volatility for today anyway, which will likely mean we will have a pretty slow move. Enjoy the night off last night. Yeah, I'm actually really happy that I didn't go about trading it for Globex and Asia last night. Globex, we had our high low first. This one, they both only had 25% entry, so if I had gone live to take the trades anyway, I wouldn't have gotten in. We did have a correct break, which is good at least. We had the 6 to 7 range break right at 7 o'clock. We had the 7 to 8 range break right at 8 o'clock, and then the 8 broke right at 8 o'clock. The 8 to 9 range broke right at 8. Not right at 9, sorry. Broke the high immediately. So 3 back-to-back setups for the IB overnight, where no trades would have been entered because there was no pullback into the range, which is the first time that we've had that happen all week. But what I want to emphasize here with the IB and how it's been trading is we've had the choppiest overnight session for weeks in a row now. What's going on, Seamus T? How you doing? GoBot, good morning. Alaria, good morning. We've had the choppiest Globex and Asia range where it fails to make any kind of direction until the midnight open. And then even when we do have the midnight open, it inverses that range right into the New York open. So exactly what we did last night. We had 3 counter-intuitive IBs where if you're looking at the IB by rejection, or just the standard IB, even better, for Globex, the likelihood that this double breaks is 35%, which we've done for the past 6 nights in a row. We've double broke the IB. Last night, you can see 6 to 7 formed bearish. We double broke that at 9, 35% stat there. Night before, this was just a mess, but we double, triple, quadruple broke. Ended up breaking it 5 times. Same exact thing for the night before. Bullish, Asia bearish, double broke to the downside. Ended up breaking it again at like 4 in the morning, which is after the STATA window, but still 35%. You can see that we've had consecutive double breaks there on SPY, and then again on Qs. QQQ, actually, sorry, that's New York. At least New York's been a single break. QQQ has been 3 double breaks over the past 5 days, which is a 42% stat. Very unlikely that happens, but that's what's playing out. I got cooked on yesterday's IB, 92% didn't play out. What's going on, Evelina? Good morning. Yeah, yesterday was... I actually didn't touch MNQ yesterday at all because... we already broke out on SPY. SPY broke the high right at 10:30. So that's an additive draw that is taken out of the equation. It means that it's not as likely that Qs pushes up. We actually had a no break yesterday on QQQ. So that, if you guys remember my point from last Thursday, no breaks do count for the diverged IBs in terms of breaking out and breaking down. ES breakout, NQ no break, that is not even on the data table, so it's not fit for that 1.8% measure. This is just saying how often does ES break out whereas NQ breaks down, or ES break down whereas NQ breaks out. We did have a double break yesterday on SPY as well. The market as a whole if we're looking, excuse me, we're looking over the course of like the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we've had countless double breaks. And even after the IB break, so last Thursday, for instance, broke to the high. We had no continuation, no follow through, just got stiffed right at IB high and then traded between the 25 and 50% for 4 hours. What's going on, Mark? I don't know how I have a little head cold when it's 90 degrees out, but here we are. And then going into today's open, I'll pull up QQQ for this. So you could see that overnight, yet again, was choppy as can be. I did take some trades on gold last night because it was so easy to just have a continuation long from New York all the way into the overnight session. Stopped trading it at, I think I hit my fullest TP. I did take consecutive longs on gold last night. I think I hit my fullest TP at, I want to say 4472, and then it ended up going up to just about 4,500. Now we're making some V shapes. Gold, I think, for a long continuation to open would be really good. Now looking at SPY and Qs, we have an inside bar. Same exact thing that we were looking at for yesterday. The only difference is we're gapped up now, which is not ideal. Gap up between 0 and 0.19% means that we have a very high chance of going to fill that gap. I think it's 85%. Gap filled by size. On SPY for New York, it is 83%. And then on QQQ for a gap up of this size, 0.3, QQQ has a 93% stat. This gets filled. That's 14 gaps, 13 of them have filled. So we have a very, very high chance that price is going to pivot down into open on both SPY and Qs. And then we also have the inside bar stat for both SPY and Qs. We are closer to the high, but with a gap fill stat, I'm more inclined to believe we're going to go lower. Dan got cooked yesterday as he blew his Blue Guardian, so I'll ask him when he comes on today. His trade copier didn't close his trades. He closed his trades at break even when the copier didn't. He was feeling fully down about that. That's why I don't use third-party copiers. Horror stories like that. Slow pre-CPI day, you think? Yeah, that's what I'm expecting. I imagine we're going to get some volatility into close, but I don't think this trading session is going to be any different from the past couple of days. We've had... So yesterday's New York session was very choppy, terribly choppy. Same exact thing with the day before that, Friday. Friday, we almost had a double break on the IB, actually. This was a mess. Thursday last week, same exact thing. Wednesday last week, only directional day we've had for probably 3 weeks worth of trading. Never mind. Tuesday was directional. I forgot about Monday, Tuesday last week. So these ones were directional. There was no pullback on these to get long. I remember now. But prior to that, Friday chop in the IB, Thursday chop in the IB, Wednesday with FOMC chop in the IB, Tuesday, Monday, same thing. It's been difficult. Market hasn't really been moving. It's been a lot of chop, a lot of indecision. We've really been struggling to have any kind of extension with the IB for the past couple of days. Yesterday, we ended up having a no break, which is like a 3%, 4% stat. I'll actually pull that up right now. So we go to initial balance breakout for QQQ. The likelihood that we have a no break is 3.23%, and that's what ended up happening yesterday. Friday, we had no continuation outside the IB. We did not even get close to hitting 0.2, which is a little disappointing because that's such a high measure. Coming into today with CPI tomorrow morning, I think this is a pretty important CPI as well. I mean, they obviously all are, but for FOMC Fed Watch from CME, if this CPI comes in bearish, right now we're almost perfectly 50-50 that we're going to get a rate cut versus a rate pause. Our current rate is 350 to 375. The likelihood that we get a rate cut, or sorry, a rate pause versus a hike is right down the middle for September. October, same exact thing. October is actually a little more favored to get a rate hike, which is not good. If this FOMC goes well, or if the CPI goes well, this is going to be the first thing I'm going to come to tomorrow morning. Hopefully, we get back down to 325 to 350. It's not looking good for several months out, though. You can see that our likelihood of staying at the current rate is only 1 in 8, just about, for December this year. So that's what I'm going to check tomorrow morning based on how CPI comes out. What's going on, Summaries? How you doing? The summer's PA has been terrible. Yeah, remind me to not trade next summer. I think it says full 5. It's abundance. It's a big loss. You have full 5 accounts. Yeah. That's just why I don't use a trade copier. I have all the tabs open separately. For the opening price, we have a draw up to 29.9 and 29.719. That's our high and low from yesterday. I am going to lean down because of the gap fill. So 0.3% is what we're gapped up right now in Qs. So I'm in Q. Let me look. Yeah, 0.3%, same. If we look at our gap fill by size on QQQ, we have 14 of these gaps over the past 6 months. 13 of them have filled. 93% of these gaps between 0.2 and 0.4, or 0.2 and 0.39 have filled. So it's very likely that we have a continuation down with the gap fill. Same thing for SPY as well. SPY, if we pull that gap fill by size up, 0.19, we have an 80% stat, and then a 47% stat if it pushes up a little tiny bit more. Or the edgeful data needed for the strategy, like IBR rejection by levels. All the stats, all the reports I have bookmarked over here on the right-hand side, that's what I use. My apologies for the voice cracks today. A little head cold, pretty congested. In 90-degree heat, I have no idea how that happened, but fortunately, the summer is doing more than giving me bad PA. I would expect that into the open we have, I mean, it's not really that directional for price action over the past week anyway, so I'm not really all that hopeful that we have a smooth move. What I would like to use is the gap fill by size with the gap fill by spike. So for QQQ, our average gap up that price continues up before filling is 0.23%. So what this means is that into the open, I'm going to mark out our previous day's range again. It means that into the open, our likelihood of continuing down right away is pretty low. We actually have a favored stat that price will, pull up the price range, we have a favored stat that price will go up 0.23. And then after it goes up 0.23, we'll have a continuation down to fill the gap. That's on average. Doesn't mean it happens every time. Like yesterday we had 0.24, 0.32, 0.32, 0.06. So it's just the average. We could have a 0.00. I have seen that a couple times for the percentage. And then our largest one's been 1.23 before it fills the gap. So if I go here, you can see that we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just about 6, where it's had a continuation directly into the open. So I'd like to think that we probably get a little spike up. If we do get that spike up, if we get the average one, it's going to hit previous day's high. Then the reason for us to go to previous day's low is pretty low, very low actually. We got 8 minutes until the open. What's going on, Alex? How you doing? Good morning. This is, I'm on the 15-minute chart right now. So since 7 a.m. this morning, we've been within the same $1.30 range on QQQ. That means just about 40 points worth of movement over the past 2.5 hours. Just about 2.5 hours. 7 a.m. to 9:20. That is pretty bad. Same exact thing we did yesterday's pre-market as well. My draw going into open is going to be pretty indecisive. I'd like to see previous day's high because we're closer to that one, but don't really know. On the treadmill, getting in before the start of the day. Nice. Hopefully CPI isn't holding out for tomorrow. It is a Tuesday. We have the Tuesday tease. CPI data tomorrow is at 8:30. All the consensus for tomorrow is that we're expecting increase of 0.1%, 3.4 for the overall read. It's been baseline for a long time, so it shouldn't really have that much volatility. Now, what might happen with the price of oil is this will start to creep up to 3.5, 3.6 because oil has sustained at $4 a gallon. So the curve on CPI, the curve on consumers buying gas, oil for their house, any oil products, which we've covered several times before. Oil is in pretty much everything. Anything that's made out of plastic or has plastic wrappings, which is sadly most of your food. Shoes, tires, obviously gas for your car, oil, gas cans. I mean, the computer that I'm using right now, the casing of it's made out of oil or has oil in it. So now that the price of oil has been sustained at a relative high, this is probably going to hit CPI pretty bad tomorrow, which is not ideal. Not ideal. $1,000% on the day I don't do it. It trade's crappy. You read Andre's report about the first 15 minutes and 12-minute bias? I have, yes. Yes, we're going to talk about that on Wednesday, tomorrow as well, when Andre's on stream. There are many reports that I've been using. We're going to have a stream segment coming up this week as well, where we're going to look at popular reports for the week and or month. So Andre's will be one of them. Another one is going to be this orb. Been talking about this quite a bit recently. The 5-minute double orb break, which played out perfectly yesterday. It's been doing really well, combined with the 15-minute double orb break as well. Because the market has been so incredibly indecisive, our likelihood of having a continuation has decreased significantly. And we're actually more likely over the past 3 months, especially. So if I pull up past 3 months of data or even 1 month of data, you can see that it's plenty of data points. Over the past month, we've had 21 days, 13 have double broke. 3 months, 44 have double broke. 6 months, 86 out of 124 trading days have double broke the 5-minute orb. So yesterday's example, 5-minute range, we established a bearish 5-minute orb. We broke to the downside and then immediately reversed and went and took it at 10:05 and then had the IB high hit. And then we went and double broke the IB on SPY, but we didn't have a break. We didn't have a single break on Qs. And that's been the recent trend, as painful as it is. What's going on, Semi? Semi Crypto, how you doing? Into the open, 3 minutes to go. I'm going to be looking for downside right off the bat. Gap fill by spike, we should have a small push up into the open prior to filling that gap. But the reason I'm anticipating the gap fill, we have a very high chance on Qs because it's in that second bracket. 14 of these gaps, 13 have gone filled, 93 percentile. And then we also have the inside day stat, inside bars, 89% chance that we go and fill or take previous day's high and previous day's low. Because of the gap fill by size, I'm going to be anticipating down. 93% stat that we fill that over the past 6 months. I'm going to be anticipating a fill of that to the downside. And then we're going to look for either previous day's high and or previous day's low. Preferably previous day's low with the gap fill lining up to it. Ooh, 2 minutes until open, 1 minute to open. Yeah, this is 40 points. $1.30 candle. Well, a little bit more than 40 points, like 55, 60 points. But we've been in the same range from the 7 a.m. candle for the past 2.5 hours now. And price is actually kind of freezing into the New York open. It's very funny. Is it safe to sell the open or is it too risky? Well, we have a stat for the gap. I don't play that early into the open. I did try a long yesterday because we were like 20 points, 30 points off previous day's high, and it ended up taking another 25 minutes to go and take previous day's high. Gap fill by spike. This is saying that into the open, even though we're gapped up, we should have a continuation up of 0.2% before we go and fill the gap to the downside. So even though it's very likely that we fill the gap, this is saying that it's more likely that we have a small continuation up into the open prior to going and filling that gap. And for today's example, that spike was about 0.3%. So some days it's based on the average, it's safe to play a small continuation up. Obviously, it's not really working out right now. It hasn't filled the gap yet, though. So if this pivots up here and goes and hits like 723.70, that still fulfills that data report. But you can see some days we have 0.6. Some days we continue up 0.53 and then go and fill the gap. The biggest one that we've had is a drop, a gap down on April 7th. We had a gap down on Tuesday, and price continued down directly into the open, continued down 1.2% prior to filling that gap. And same thing for the upside, 0.7%. That was a very immediate drop, though. So it probably would have been safe to sell the open, yes, to answer your question in hindsight. I sold the open, thank you. Secured 2K payout. Anywhere I can learn more about this? Right on the stream. So previous day's low should be our draw. We also have that gap that needs to go and get filled, which is very close now. Previous day's low 720.33 on Qs, which M and Q would put it at 29.719. So like another 50 points down from here to go and fill that gap. And that will probably be our entire draw for today. SPY has the same exact stat as well. This one's actually favored to go and fill the gap a little bit more than Qs. And then if they both take previous day's low, that's a good confluence. They do typically go in the same direction on the inside bar stats. Actually, very often they go in the same direction. So this just about got the gap fill, or almost there. Gap fill on Qs is down to 720.81. 20 cents off. I'm going to draw a line there so I can see when it actually goes and hits. Barely missed it. That's a pretty directional move into the open. It's really not that big of a candle. It's a nice candle, but it's not that big of a candle. I like it. This is pretty smooth price action so far. What's going on, Grumpy? How you doing? Bearish 5-minute orb so far. Should also go and take the downside on that range. ES report for today, please. ES has the same exact bias right now. We are a little stronger on ES into the open. It should tail what Qs does. So QQQ is targeting the gap fill right now, which is 721.05. Sorry, that's the current price, 720.79, and then right below that's previous day's low, 720.35. We should go and take previous day's low. Gap just got filled. Should go and take previous day's low as well at 720.35, and then that will drag SPY down all the way to 771.62. Very good read on this morning. Very good. 29.719 is previous day's low. And it's just barely above it right now. It's got 20 points, less than 20 points. Almost there. 10 points. Trying to bounce off that gap fill. 10 points to go for previous day's low on Qs, and that's pretty much the whole draw for the day. If it goes and hits that. We should have a continuation down though, because SPY also needs to go and take either previous day's low or previous day's high. Most of the time. There's our 5-minute orb break. Broke it immediately. And 719 just hit. Previous day's low taken out. Very good. Very good read in the open. So now that Qs has taken that level, we can go look at edgeful AI, diverged inside bars. How often does NQ break out or break down? And how often does ES reverse that? Only happens about 5 to 8% of the time. So ES should also continue down to previous day's low. Very good read. I'm surprised we didn't have a spike up into the open. If I go to gap filled by spike, because it's already filled now, this should be, well, it won't update until tomorrow, but this is probably going to be like 0.02%. We had a very tiny wick up prior to going and filling that gap and then hitting all the draws to the downside. Yes, gap filled as well. Yes. but it hasn't. It's right in the middle of previous day's high and low. It should go to previous day's low. Inside bars on SPY for that to go and hit is a 89% stat. So it's very likely that we have a continuation down to previous day's low since Q's already took it. Perfect read on that to open. Perfect read. I think I have. Oh, yes. Applauding myself. Just a minute. The only thing that worries me about these moves is that we could have a very aggressive bounce off previous day's low on Qs right here. What I am going to pull up is we're going to go look at MCL and MGC as well. These two have been playing really well for directional moves, even though the market hasn't been doing too hot for overall direction. Commodities have been doing really well. So we're going to watch what MCL does today. This is pretty directionally down into the open. We already broke the pit open IB, which is, I believe, 820 to 920 on both gold and I think oil's maybe 9 o'clock. So this one might not have broken quite yet. Should be bearish. And then we can play a continuation at the 1030 level. SPY and Qs, though, these ones very bearish at the moment. 15-minute orb bearish, 5-minute orb already broke to the downside. What I covered earlier, now it's not a super high stat. It's 70%, which is still good, but it's not crazy. For the past 4 days, we've double broke on the SPY 5-minute orb. And then for the past 3 out of 5, we've double broke on Qs. But you can see just how reliable this report has been because of how choppy the market's been. From last Tuesday to present, last Tuesday was the only time that we didn't double break. So maybe it will be a Tuesday trend. I do like a continuation lower as of right now, though. It's looking pretty good for today. No news from Trump. Doesn't look like we have any scheduled talks as well today. For overall market moves, I like looking at the watch list on my phone, so I have everything saved. SanDisk is up. Gold is up. MSTR, NVDA is up 1.3%. Tesla's up 0.2, and that's about it. Everything else is red. There's our aggressive bounce off of previous day's low so far. We could definitely have a double break on that orb. I would not be surprised, but it has been very streaky. I'm going to make sure we watch it on the 5-minute time frame for this. Again, I do apologize about the voice cracks today. Well, head cold is killing me, congestion-wise. Bouncing very hard off previous day's low and the gap fill. so far. Look at that bounce. 5-minute double orb break. If we go up to 774.56, I'm going to try a long to previous day's high on SPY. Even though the stat is very low. That's only if we get up to the 5-minute orb high, 7792. Previous day's high is just barely above that. Our previous day's high is going to be 7797. If we get above the 5-minute double orb, then I am going to, it's going to be a 6-point trade. I'll try it to the upside 5 points, like $25. Only if we get to the orb high. If we don't, then I'll just play a continuation down to the lows. Your thoughts on long GC to midnight open? Midnight highs or midnight open? Should be about the same thing. Gold, I always say, when it's trending like this, it's very unlikely it's going to stop. I think midnight might be a little bit of a stretch, though. Another 23 points in the New York Open for gold's quite a bit. Because we have to go all the way up to 4481. We're at 4458 right now. It's quite a stretch. 22 points, 23. Especially if we get a, which that's a perfect, picture perfect retest of 50% of the orb. Very nice. Qs didn't get quite there. The 15-minute orb, if you guys didn't know, you can trade very similar to how we trade the IB itself and retest at 50%. That's how Andre trades it. Retest at 50%, do really well for the orb. That was the 10K challenge going. For the futures one, we are at 50,300 right now. It was a very, very slow start to the week last week. I'll show you guys the price action we were delivered with. Everyone should already know, but so Monday last week, 0 entry. I tried longing to the 0.2 continuation. No luck. We had no pullback whatsoever. We had one pullback at 11:30 that lasted for 5 minutes, and then we were right back at all-time highs on SPY. Same exact thing happened on Tuesday. Tuesday was actually a little bit worse. We had like a 40-point pullback at most, and then chop, chop, chop. Thursday, Friday. Yesterday, the trade that I had, this was a chef's kiss of a trade. I was so happy to take it. This was my position from yesterday on crude. So I went long at 50% on MCL. I did front run it by a couple minutes. Long at 50% on MCL, stop loss at the low, TP at the high. The reason I put the stop loss at the low as opposed to the 75 is because for crude trades and gold, they wick a lot more often. They don't have the same metric for closing zones that SPY and Qs do. So putting the stop loss 1-to-1 is a lot safer in terms of letting the trade ride out. And then full TP got hit at IB high at 11 o'clock. So I was in the trade for about 40 minutes or so, but this was $0 in drawdown. I think I was maybe $4 in drawdown. I went in with 2 MCL and a full TP hit for $140 on that. Very nice trade. The reason I've been liking crude so much, so this is the setup from yesterday on the IB. The same exact setup on Friday. Same exact thing. Perfect retest at the 50%. After the IB was formed as well, so 10:35 was your entry. Your exit was at 10:55. It was a 20-minute trade. Straight to full TP with $0 in drawdown again. So crude's been doing very, very well, while commodities have been more directional than the market. There's our 15-minute orb low taken on bull SPY and Qs. We should very much be heading down to previous day's low in SPY. Very, very much. Inside bars for SPY, 89% stat that we go and break previous day's range. And we are on a 3-win streak on it. So it's not overdue a loss or anything. It's doing very well. It's not too streaky. Should have a great continuation. This is so far 200-point IB range, which isn't too bad. 100 points from the midpoint, $200 risk reward. It's not terrible. Crude does well in New York, but I'm always skeptical of it. Yeah, it's not great, but it's, in terms of what we're offered in the market right now, it's very good. But if I were to go in a long-term trade for gold or crude, I'd probably lose over the long run, just because crude does chop a lot during New York, especially if it gets back down to like $40 to $50 a barrel. Question for you: I seem to keep repeating the same thing, same habit of throwing all my progress out the window in one day only. How can I stop myself from sabotaging so I can see consistency? That's more so based on psychology. So it's not, that's not anything to do with the strategy or the model. That's all your psychology behind trading. So if you take a loss, you're sabotaging yourself by blowing the account after taking a loss, trying to make it back. Anytime that I take a loss on a position, most of the time, I should say, very often, the following day has a beautifully clean setup associated with it. So for QQQ today, for instance, yesterday we didn't really have that good of a setup on the IB. Low form first, high form second, just chop to smithereens. Today, a lot more directional. We had a beautiful read in the open. The market is giving us a much better delivery on price. This is typically what happens, and that's what I look forward to every time I take a loss. Tomorrow, very often, provides a better setup or a better opportunity. I trade just one micro now on 5x 25K Lucid Flex. That was a game changer. Thanks, things. Awesome, Martin. Dan will be joining us shortly, about 10 minutes. Make sure you guys stick around for him. Stats are bad for shorts. Stats are bad all the way around on Tuesday. GST. IB buy rejection for Tuesday. Stats for Tuesdays: 50-50, 63-33. 12 occurrences for the low forming first, which obviously we don't have right now. It's probably not going to reverse all the way up, I don't imagine. 13 occurrences for the high, 7 losses, 6 wins. So it's pretty nasty data for today. Those are the best trades. Nice. Yeah, I was very happy with yesterday's trade. Very, very happy. Does the IB on crude start at 9 a.m. or is it the same as New York IB? Same as New York. Now, the difficulty with crude and commodities in general is that they do have different pit opens. Oil opens at 9 o'clock, and then all precious metals open at 8:20. So if we go over to gold, you can see that at 8 to 8:20 this morning, there's a volume spike because that's when their pit open is. Right at 8:20, actually, that's the perfect volume spike. That IB finalizes at 9:20, which ended up being bullish today. It did break to the high at 9:45, but the downside to trading these IBs is that it has New York open immediately after it. So it's very difficult to go and give a read on price for the 8:20 to 9:20 pit open. I prefer to avoid that 9:20 open, the 8:20 to 9:20 IB, and just play the New York one. But that's why gold doesn't do as well for New York session, because it has mixed volume going up and down. Just a second. We should bounce from here. Maybe not. I'm appreciating this directional price right now. I'm a fan. I'm very, very happy with that read in the open. Very happy with it. We took out the gap fill and previous day's low, which is two added confluences to go down. And now there's not really any reason for us to go up or down until we either finalize the IB or SPY starts having some more directional movement to previous day's low. What's going on, Jameson? How you doing? 5-minute orb report. There's an 80% stat we double break and 25 total data points. Ever use something like this? Yeah, I use that very often. I used it yesterday, actually, into the open. 70% isn't terribly likely, but for 6 months, we have 86 double breaks over 124 days. So it's a very strong report. The size of that 5-minute orb, like today, it was over $1 on SPY. It's pretty unlikely that we're probably going to pivot all the way up to take that high again, but we could. We don't have any news today as well, which is a little difficult to trade. Now, later on this week, we just came off NFP last Friday. We have CPI tomorrow. We do have existing home sales here in 5 minutes. It's a rather low statistic report. CPI tomorrow, PPI Thursday, and then consumer sentiment on Friday. So it's a pretty big end to the week for volatility. Overall, I think this is it should very much go to previous day's low right now on SPY, but since we already took the gap fill and the 15-minute orb, we don't have any additional draws to the downside. We just have to wait until the IB sets. And then maybe for the IB, once it's set, we can have a continuation off like the 0.2 or 0.4. What about previous day's high, previous day's low? We already took previous day's low on Qs. Data-wise, we are actually favored since Qs already took its draw to the downside. We are favored on SPY to pivot up, take the 5-minute double break, and then also go and take previous day's high. But that's what I'm getting at here is that there's no super high confidence setup on SPY to play a continuation lower because we already took all the levels out on Qs, and Qs likes to pull SPY with it. 12 out of 15 Tuesdays, we break out on ES. Yeah, we also have until 4 o'clock. some reason. So we could have a lot of stuff that comes out over it's only been 27 minutes in the market open. It's just new home sales coming up. New home sales isn't really all that significant. It's very low impact. Do you use the inside days report for previous days high, previous days low? Yes. Inside bars. So we have on SPY for today, we have, well, Q's had an 89% stat. We already took that previous day low in Q's. That's this white line right here, 720.35. Previous day's low taken. And then SPY still has it intact. But SPY is smack dab in the middle of the range, so there's no draw or advantage to going up and down. When price moves, so this is the most important helpful tip I'm going to give everyone in here. Highly suggest writing this down or taking notes on it. Your likelihood, this is exactly how I go about trading. Every single time I enter a trade, and I'm about to disprove everyone that says they have a 80 to 90% win rate, think to yourself, if I enter, let's say I go long right now, disregarding previous day's high, disregarding previous day's low, disregarding the IB, just looking at the raw chart, if I go long, what is the likelihood that I win on this trade? Don't overcomplicate it. Don't think too much into it because of the current setup we have. If I go long from where price is right now, what is the likelihood that I win versus lose on this trade? It's a 1-to-1 risk reward. What is the likelihood that I win or lose? 50-50, right down the middle. That is the baseline for every single trade setup you will ever take, have ever taken, or will have open for the rest of your trading. That's the baseline. You have a 50% chance that price goes up or down from where you enter every single position you take. Every single one. To increase your win rate, so this is baseline. So I have a 50-50 to win on this position, which looks like I'm about to get lucky. If I move my stop loss up, I always mention this for evolving risk reward. If I move my stop loss up, that is me entering a second trade. And that second trade, if I put my stop loss at break even, is now a negative risk reward trade that I am risking the profit that I'm up on the position to make a little bit more. Every time you take a position, every single time you take a trade, if the trade itself is 50-50, every time that I flip position, every time that I exit and enter another position, it is 50-50 times 50-50, or 50% times 50%, because every trade has a 50% chance of winning off the bat. That's the minimum. If I take 2 trades in one day, that means that I have a 25% chance that both of those trades win. Completely disregarding all the reports on edgeful, gap fill by size, inside bars, IB by rejection. If I take 2 trades, the likelihood of that working out for me, both trades winning, is 25%. Does everyone understand why? Everyone understand why it's 25% and not 50-50 plus 50-50? It's a 50% chance the trade wins times another 50% chance that the second trade wins, which is 25%. If I take 3 trades, it goes down to 12.5. If I take 4 trades, it goes down to 6. 5 trades, it goes down to 3. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning. How are you, mate?
Not too bad.
Good.
So all these stats, if your baseline on winning on a trade is 50-50, all the stats that I add on edgeful, once they are in, for like the gap fill by size for today, for example, we had a 93% chance of winning that. So that is 50-50 because the entering short at the open is a 50% stat of winning if I go 1-to-1 on it. So 50-50 plus 93%. So 50% plus 93 divided by 2. The chance that I won on that trade into open, if I had shorted, would have been about 71.5%. So 50% plus 93% divided by 2. As soon as you get that draw out of the way, as soon as you lose that draw, the likelihood that you're going to win on that trade goes back to 50-50. Inside bars, as soon as we took that inside bar low on Qs, the likelihood that we win on a continuation down or up isn't still back to 50-50. So anyone that says they have a 90% win rate, that means that they have at the very least 5 other confluences that all have a 100% win rate lining up. No one in the market has a 90% win rate. No one has an 80% win rate. Your baseline is 50-50. Every added confluence that you add in gives you a better denominator on that trade. So yeah, if you have a 90% win rate, you'd have to have 500% stats lining up plus the 50-50. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing.
That's a lot of maths for me. As soon as I come on stream for the first 2 minutes, boom,
Yeah,
boom,
sorry,
boom, numbers here.
But what I'm getting at, Dan, is that price, if so many people overcomplicate their entries, if you enter with a 1-to-1, the likelihood that price goes up 1R before it goes down is just 50-50, right? Completely disregarding any other report or looking at any other movement of price.
Yeah.
And then increasing it. So like if the stats are that we continue down 80% of the time when we form X level, it's the 50-50 plus the 80% and then divided by 2 to get the average on those 2 confluences. Arlo, for those top 1 accounts, you have to go and sign the contract on the dashboard.
For all of them.
And then it will update in a couple of minutes. So you have to go onto your top 1 dashboard. Yes, but are you going to tell us how you caught that 50-50 trade with 0 drawdown? The one that I just put as an example on there. Luck. That is pretty funny though. I just did that. I did this as an example, and it ended up having no drawdown on
it. Well, it's quite funny actually. I was just because obviously I had anyone who's seen my X will know I had trade copy issues yesterday, so I'm proper anxious now about my trade copy, and I just tested it now to see it's all good to go and everything, and I accidentally got into the market by accident. I was meant to put a stop order above and I put a limit order, so it kind of got me in the market, and I was like, whoa, I need to close quickly, just like 10 minutes before I came on stream. Of course they go up all by $30 and then I close it. So it's kind of like that, isn't it? Just sometimes you just click a button and they'll just go in profit for you. Yeah.
Good question from Harry there. Yes. So technically, mathematically, having no stop loss on a position, you're always going to win on it. If you guys have a crazy, and this is why negative risk rewards have such a high win rate. If you're just looking at this from a standpoint of pure numbers, the likelihood that price continues up 1R before it goes down 10R is 92.5%. Or 90%, sorry. About 92.5. If you are flipping a day for prop firms and you're trying to make 150 before you lose 2,000, which is the drawdown for most, it's a 92.5% stat that it goes up 150 before it goes down 2,000. So that's completely disregarding any trade setup. Now, for anyone that's trying to trade crazy risk rewards, like a lot of ICT guys that I see, they're trying to go for 3 to 4R trades. Mathematically, price will have for a 4R trade, its stats are that 80% of the time price is going to go down that 1R before it goes up 4. That's why so many people struggle with the very high win rates. Or not the high win rates, but the high R trades. I heard about your little mishap yesterday, Dan. I apologize. That stinks.
It's one of those where, when you, I think I was so proud of how I sort of managed it. I just got off the desk quickly. It was like, oh, I did so well there. And I just kind of forgot about my post-trade checklist is literally check the copier, check it, make sure all the orders are closed, and that's why I posted it yesterday and people were like, but why are you not blaming your trade copier? Why are you not blaming this or that? Like, it's on me. It's on me. And I think you need to get into that habit of always holding yourself accountable and always being responsible, because being responsible allows you to be able to respond. And that is what I'm going to be doing from here on in, is just making sure that, that doesn't happen again. It's just, for me, it's a simple fix. It's just making sure that they're just closed at the end. I think I said on the edgeful stream, I think a couple of weeks ago, it happened with a Lucid account where it didn't close, but then it actually worked in my favor and went in profit by quite a bit. So it worked in favor for me that time. But this time was just, it was a shocker. Do you, David, I do have market execution mode on, but it didn't save me for whatever reason.
That's why I am terrified of having trade copiers, third party.
Yeah, I like, it's one of those where I would say if you've taken payouts before and you feel ready to scale, I would recommend a trade copier, because for me, I wouldn't have made as much money in payouts this year if I wasn't using a trade copier. So it's hard for me to diss trade copiers when it's definitely benefited me this year. But when it comes to that, it's a case of you've got to have some sort of checklist in place to make sure that stuff like this doesn't happen. And I could have easily have avoided that yesterday. So it's it hurts more than a trade that lost or was badly managed, because, do you know what I mean? It's a soft, not, it's not a software. It's my fault, like I said, but you know what I mean, though.
Yeah. So we have, I am very tempted to go long right now. To the 5 minute double break. We also still have previous day's high intact. The only issue is I don't know where I'd put my stop loss on it. I think if I were to enter this trade, it would be something like this. Stop loss at IB low, because if we make a new IB low, it's probably going to go and take previous day's low.
Yeah.
You guys remember from the beginning of the stream, that 5 minute double orb break has been doing so incredibly well because the market has, and I'm sure you can agree with this, Dan, the market has been so terrible for directional moves.
Yeah, it's reversing, isn't it?
Like our stats for continuing in one direction have been abysmal for the past 2 weeks. Yeah. Now, obviously, we've had, honestly, way longer. It's been like 3 months of this where it's pushing up, pushing right back. We had a double break again yesterday on SPY, and then a no prick on Qs. But we have a 75% stat that price goes to double break the IB. And going back to that example, this is how win rates actually work for trades. If I enter this trade with a 1-to-1, again, it's a 50-50 that goes up and down, up or down, plus the 75% stat that we go up to the IB high. So even though it says 75% for the 5 minute orb double break, technically we have a 50-50 plus the 75, which puts this at like a 62% stat that it will win. Hopefully that makes sense to everyone. Don't get too sucked into saying it has 80 or 90% win rates. It's all the added confluences that make a trade better or worse. So
food for thought though for your trade idea. If I just share my screen quickly, I know it's not QQQ for you, is it? But
that was on
some
SPY.
Food for thought. That's on SPY, yeah. So obviously, QQ, MNQ and MES run, fairly in the same direction. We've already taken previous session low on MNQ. Previous session high is here. You would be proud of me with this here. I'm trying my best to get better at using edgeful AI. I'm trying my best, and and I saw it break the low, and I asked edgeful AI today, like, what's the chance of us breaking the IB high as well, like a double break day? And that's a 19% chance. Come on, teacher. I've heard all your maths at the beginning. You tell me, have I used that correctly there?
Yes.
Are we good
so
there
it's
for that?
actually,
Yeah.
let me steal the screen back. 4 inside bars. There's a report for that under inside bar. Go to inside bars and then go to buy breakout. And that tells you the stats for having a double break, touching both previous day's high and low.
So I could have just gone on the report and not typed it in on edgeful AI. Is that what you're telling? Are you telling me?
That is what I'm telling you. Yes. So there's a stat for that. Well, it's inside bars buy breakout for the sub report.
I'm still taking my win on the edgeful AI there. The edgeful AI is making it very clear for me in written forms. It's even produced a nice little easy to read table for me as well, that there is a 19% chance that we're going to take the previous session high as well today. So that's someone wrote in the chat before, am I looking at the IB75 trade here? Potentially, but I am aware as well that we only have the thing is, we only have a 19% chance of taking the previous session high. But yesterday's range was quite small, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm not honest. The size of the range does hit it a little bit worse with the stats playing out. But
yeah,
like yesterday, we had a 3% stat that was going to be a no break. I think in the current market right now, it's very likely that we just kind of chop around and hit. It's almost funny when we go on streaks like this where the market's doing really poorly that we go and hit the lowest possible stats.
Yeah.
So like 6% on edgeful that we go and take both previous days high and low. 3% stat that we have a no break, which we had a no break yesterday on Qs. 12% stat that we have a double break on a Monday for SPY. That's exactly, we've hit so many rare stats back to back that it's kind of the streak that we're going on.
Yeah,
you can take the screen back over again. I'll be back momentarily.
Sure. How are we doing, all guys? How are we doing? Someone wrote, are you ready for the Tuesday teas today? Absolutely, fully ready for the Tuesday teas. Definitely. As I keep saying, the Tuesday is definitely my worst day. It's my worst day. So whenever I come on this stream with you guys, I am very, very aware that I'm coming on stream on a day where I definitely perform worse than any other day for sure. But I am potentially looking here an IB 75 trade. Potentially. We will see. As I said before, the previous session high at 19% above, although it is like a low percentage, the range was so small yesterday. So, I'm still looking for potential longs here. But Zinc, you talked about the 5-minute double break. I've been looking at the 15-minute double break recently. It is really good. Like, if you just look at just how it performs day to day, like it does pretty well. But when you're using VWAP as a confluence, it's been quite interesting. Just been looking into it a little bit more. But yeah, these double breaks at the moment, like you said, I had a look at the 15-minute orb double break in like January, February time of this year, and very interestingly, it was nowhere near as good as it is now. And of course, January, February, March time, the IB plays were performing beautifully, while the orb double break plays weren't. And now it's vice versa. As you said, isn't it? Now we're in a sort of kind of market at the moment where it doesn't know what it wants to do, and it keeps sort of flipping and reversing. It's quite interesting.
What trend do you think we're in right now?
Who, me? Oh, I was looking at that before I jumped on. I'm looking at the chart at the moment. We're just in consolidation at the moment, aren't we?
So this is the only 3 ways the market moves, right? So it goes up, down, or sideways. No in between. The consolidation zones, which has pretty much been the whole summer so far. This is where a lot of people lose because there's no There's no clear direction, and you see it all the time on prop traders. If I go short from the open, I'm trying to pass an account or I'm trying to get more than I should. And this is the trade that I take, and I either move the stop loss to break even, or I have like a 1 risk on it, 2 risk. I barely miss my TP, and then price pivots back up. So I'm going to close the position, and then I'm going to immediately go long because it looks like it's going to go right back up. And then I get stuck in a spell where it starts chopping me, especially like what happened yesterday. If you tried trading this yesterday, if you were off with the timing at all and you went short into open, you got stopped, and then you went long, and then you got stopped because price fell back down, and then you go long again or short, and then price pivots back the other way. This is why so many people blow accounts in chop markets, which is the consolidation we've been doing for months now. But on the upside of that, what you were just mentioning there, like what we had in May for price action, when price was just directional as can be, this is what I'm dreaming of, April into May again, because the IB was so incredibly good when price was, you woke up, IB low form first, great, I'm going to go long, IB high hit, within 5 minutes you're done for the day.
Yeah.
And this is because we were in a bullish trend on the market, and now we're, even on the 15-minute time frame, we've been within, like what I covered this morning, we had 2.5 hours where price was within the same 15-minute candle this morning.
Yeah.
The 7 a.m. candle, 2.5 hours we were stuck.
Yeah. Well, you'll know, but you'll know as well how many people blew accounts yesterday. What was it like yesterday?
Oh, a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Quite a few. It's been quite a few already today too. The worst one was last week, last Wednesday. I think that was
last Wednesday,
August 5th. Yes, last Wednesday. 240 blown accounts. Just code.
Yeah. Yeah, chopped around and then it just tanked, didn't it? Yeah.
Yes, Arlo. If you want to copy trade the 5 accounts, you have to put a 5 M&Q order in, and it will take 1 M&Q per account.
Someone asked, I'm not ignoring questions here. Someone asked, can you please show how to put your VWAP? Yeah, it is. I use the edgeful VWAP sweep indicator. So it's literally just, if you go on your indicators and you go on to the invite only, just type in VWAP sweep, it'll come up there. And then when you click on the settings button here, you've got all the different VWAP options. So I always have the New York and I have the daily. The daily is the green one and the New York is the yellow one. So super easy. And it just means that they're just automatically plotted every day. But if not, it's literally there's a trading view indicator as well called VWAP, and you can just click the candle where you want it to go to, and I'll just put it on for you. So, but yeah, if you look there, that one looks different to my one because I have a different input. I have, how do I put the? Oh yeah, this here source. I always use this one, open, high, low, close, full. So that's why it looks a little bit different. So. It's the most common question I get always.
Another question here from Alex. On edgeful, you go into your IB by rejection. So from the very beginning, you go to the initial balance breakout report, sub-report, by rejection. Right in the middle. Once you have the by rejection, go into customize report, and then it's under IB closing zones. You can set it to 75, the top quadrant, middle quadrant, or the bottom, 0 to 25. Those are what you select. What a terrible PA this summer is being. Horrible.
It's quite interesting though, because whenever I do back testing on the IB 25, I think I've done back testing on 2025 and 2024. I haven't gone back any further than that because I don't see the point. But every single time on those 2 years, the summer months are always the worst performing. Always.
Yeah, seasonality wise. I did a I wish I could find the infographic I made. The reasoning behind it is because of schools and the cost to have a kid in school versus healthcare and daycare. A lot of people end up just taking the summer off, especially in the US. I'm not sure if you knew that. It's like 120,000, 60,000 to 120,000, depending on where you live, to send your kid to daycare while you're working. So over the summer, spring break, fall, all the breaks that we have throughout the school year. So a lot of people
I
end up
always
just
thought it was
taking the
because
summer off.
I always thought it's because the big players are on holidays.
That too, yeah.
Yeah.
They spend the time with their kids and then they go back to work, and the market starts doing really. This week or next week should start doing a lot better because we have the southern schools go back, I think, next Monday or sometime this week, and then northern schools go back next week. The school around us starts on August 20th. I always love saying this stat. 60% of the world works in the school system or has some kind of connection to the school system.
In what way? So you got teachers, students, parents,
superintendents, tutors, and then the vast majority. It does still count college as well. College workers and college students.
Okay, yeah. Maintenance staff.
Cafeteria,
admin staff,
school bus drivers, coaches, assistant coaches, volunteers.
Yeah.
So when school's out, there's a lot of money that's not coming in. Or people, like I just went golfing yesterday at one with one of my friends that he has the entire summer off. And he just has to kind of find stuff to do.
Okay.
Spend time in the boat. My kids are heading back this weekend, South Carolina and Baylor. ES looks disgusting on the 1 minute. Yeah, this is very bad. 1 minute and 5 minute chart is disgusting. And it's not just ES either. It's both ES and NQ. We are one step away from being just like you over in Abu Dhabi with no more daylight savings in the US. They tied on the vote twice, and now they're on summer recess, so we won't get the vote until like August 20th again, 25th. So the vote for daylight savings time being disbanded is in Congress right now. It's in the House. They can't
for all
decide
states.
Yeah, for the entire U.S.
Wow. So what would it be? Would it be because you've got EST and you've got what's the other ET? Is it? I don't know your.
No, they're all standard time. EST, PST, Mountain Standard Time.
But when they move, but
together.
Your clocks move. Yeah. Are they thinking of not moving? Is that what you're telling me? The clocks won't move.
Yep, just like you.
So it'll stay with now. It's not, so they won't move an hour forward like they
or an hour back in April.
Okay.
Correct.
That's quite. So it's just go on, yeah.
10:26 right now. It would be 10:26 at this time every day for the rest of the year.
Okay.
But in November, what we've been doing, that would be 11:26 right now.
Okay. Because for me in Abu Dhabi now, New York Open is 5:30 p.m. But when the clocks go forward, it's obviously 6:30 p.m. Doesn't sound like much. It's quite a big difference though. Like when I'm trading in 6:30 p.m., it's nighttime here. Like it's dark all the time when I'm trading. I'm not sure what I prefer, to be fair.
Yeah, they're trying to get rid of it. They have been for a long time.
Yeah. The British still do it. UK still do daylight savings.
I had, prior to them voting. I had no idea what it was even for. It was for saving money on heating during World War II. That's why they started moving the clocks.
Is it?
Because people turn their... I had no idea about this. I guess people turn their heat off at night when they go to sleep, or they turn it down significantly. And they only have the heat running while they're awake. So to save on cost, they had daylight savings, so everyone would go to work, turn the heat off, and then they get back and they could run the heat for a couple of hours and then go to bed when the sun goes down.
Okay.
I always thought it was for farmers too, but
yes, me too.
It said that it was for saving on heating costs during World War II. That's why we did it, not because of farmers.
What are you thinking at the moment? We're coming towards the IB closing soon.
Not really anything, honestly.
Yeah.
It is good for downside, but
yeah. I think really for me, if I just let me put my screen back on. Hold on. Oh, I removed you.
That's okay.
So, how many weeks have I been streaming now? Still getting the hang of StreamYard. What was the same? Yeah, I'm not loving how it's pinching between these view ups at the moment. That's one thing I would say. And I think as well, just looking at this now at the moment, we got some candles below, some candles above. Like in terms of direction at the moment, I am very, very nervous at the moment just how we're closing and chopping both sides of the view up. And like I said, this stat here, for it to come hit here at the previous session high, is a 19% stat because we've already taken the previous session low. So yeah. I'm just and also Tuesdays just suck for me. So honestly, I want it to be A+.
I kind of want to go target the high.
Me too. But yeah, our stock's doing. Meta's up 2.3%. Google's down 1.4%. Amazon's down 1.2%. Nvidia's up 1%. Yeah, no surprise that we are chopping here a little bit at the moment.
So, with the closing zones, we are actually favored to go to the upside. I'm very tempted to go long on SPY because of that 5-minute double order break. And I know for it to go up to the high, it's a pretty low stat. But like I just mentioned, our trend recently has been hitting the lower probability stats.
Yeah. Let's have a look. So we've closed between the IB 50 and IB 75. So let's have a look at the closing zone. So IB highest form first. Look at that. It's actually quite strong.
Yep. And scroll down to the table. There you go.
There you go. IB high form
15
first.
total outcomes. 12 of them won or went to the high.
That's a hard stat to turn down. That is a hard stat to turn down. 80%
and then
chance.
You can also add that into the 5-minute double break on the orb. We have on SPY, we have a 75% stat that price goes and breaks the 76.6 actually. Price goes and breaks the 5-minute orb high. Let's take a look at. Never mind, oil already broke the high. No pullback on oil. Gold. If gold pulls back up, I might actually short that. Steal that screen back. Gold's stats for going lower are actually pretty good. We go to IB by rejection and GLD. For Tuesday. High form first. We have a 60% stat. The price goes a little low with 15 outcomes. Not too bad. If we get a pullback on this, I might try a short here. Should we short first high, then short? Why long? The closing zone favors the long. This ultimately is not a quality setup though. I would say.
Yeah.
This is the same trend that we had yesterday. Yesterday was not a quality setup on SPY. It broke right at 10:30. At like 10:30 and 20 seconds. Same exact thing we did on Friday. And then that's caused Qs to kind of trade off kilter where it doesn't have a continuation up or down. Also, I did look that up while Dan pulled the screen up. Daylight savings time to make better use of natural daylight from World War I to save on fuel and power by reducing the need for artificial lighting. I always thought it was the farmers too, but no, it is not.
There you go, guys. If you don't take a trade today, at least you learned something very interesting there.
Yeah. You can go tell your families that daylight savings time and the vote for it is in Congress right now. And that it was invented to save on fuel costs during World War I. Where do you think we're heading today? I have no freaking idea. I'm leaning up on SPY, completely disregarding what Qs is doing, by the way. This is still messy on Qs. I'm leaning to the upside on SPY. I'm leaning towards previous day's high. We could also, with CPI tomorrow, we could just trade like this for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I wanted to tell this to my wife, but apparently she already knew this. Find someone else. Find someone else that doesn't know it. And if they ask for a source, just say, trust me, bro. Yeah, that works. Let's hope they remove it. It'll be much better for cooking data.
What are we thinking, chat? What are you thinking? Thinking long, thinking short here?
Technically, Dan, if you did want to take this trade, so you would go long from the midpoint, let's say right now. Even though it's an 80% stat, you have to add the 50-50 in as well. So it's really 65 that goes up. 50% plus 80% divided by 2. And if you wanted to further that stat, you would add in the 75% from the 5-minute double break. So it gets up to like 68. But it's not a true 80.
We're just
so what is this question, Dan? What is this? I've heard you say this before.
I know Dan is allergic. Well, yeah, I know. That's why I haven't entered anything yet. I mean, it's just they're both flat, aren't they? And the fat price has been pinching between the two. I mean, look at that day. I mean, if you just put me back on here.
Yep, I got you.
This daily VWAP, could that be any flatter?
No.
Could it be any?
I don't think I've ever seen a VWAP that looks like a support line instead of VWAP.
Yeah.
Look at it even from pre-market too. Ever so slightly leaning up.
What's that? Oh yeah. Yeah, look at that. Yeah. That is just horrendous. Chop high, chop low, chop high, chop low. Are we going to chop higher again though? I don't know. I honestly, because you said what we're in before. What are we? What's that?
I said you said a nice little nursery rhyme.
I don't know where it's going to go. No idea.
So to continue on my recent trend, I'm going to take 2 MGC short at the 50. I'm going to put the stop at the high. I'm going to put the TP at the low. MNQ and MES have been trading like dog doo-doo. So I am going to trade commodities. I'm going to take an IB short on gold. $1-to-1 risk reward. $200 risk. Stats for gold to go and take the low is IB bar rejection on gold. 60%. It's not great, but it's not terrible. And I'd rather play that than go and try to play spot on Qs right now because these charts look disgusting. I mean, across the board, they don't really look that good anyway.
Anyone trading NQ, NVDA is moving slowly low at the moment. And that's what screwed a lot of people yesterday, trading NQ. Because the stocks were actually not too bad for NQ yesterday, but NVIDIA just slid. Absolutely slid yesterday. So I think it screwed people who were trading NQ.
I think SanDisk is way up too. It's up 6%, 7%. No, sorry, that was the leverage one I was looking at. SanDisk up 3.
Good question from Epic Gamer. And this is a very good one. Do you think it's possible to be profitable trading purely just the IB with the stats? I've been trading it correctly according to edgeful stats for the last month, and I'm practically break even. It's a good question, and unfortunately, there are so many things missing from what you said for me or Zinc to give you a sort of more accurate answer there, because you haven't told us risk management, how much are you positive RR, are you negative RR. What assets are you trading? There's so many different missing ingredients there from that question. But as we just talked about before, trading this time of the year is tough. If you are break even at the moment, you're actually doing amazingly. You just heard Zinc before say yesterday the amount of blown accounts yesterday and last Wednesday as well, the amount of blown accounts. If you are break even at the moment, you are doing awesome. And I think it's one of those where when the price action is not behaving for you properly, just stay patient, stay disciplined, trust in the data, wait for the sun to shine once again for you, because it will. Do you know what I mean? It's I've got to stop saying that phrase. I say that all the time. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
I always like showing this as well. This is the algo optimizer for the IB. It is a little different than the IB that we trade, yes, but it's the same concept with the continuations and having the IB break in the right direction. The win rate hasn't been too good, 56.3. But with 2 MNQ per trade over the past 2 years, you're still making 22,000. So the profit factor is the most important part of that. The IB itself hasn't been doing all that well in terms of directional breaks. It's actually been rather difficult over the past 3 months, I'd argue. Since May to the current state for the IB, it's been trading a lot better these past couple of days in terms of like the overnight move, but overall we haven't had that strong of a confluence going up or down in the market. The IB has been suffering because of it, and a lot of not just the IB either. If you go and look at a lot of trading strategies on social media, which I always like to just go and vaguely refer to X, a lot of people are struggling in the chop, and it's because the chop is so difficult to trade bias to the upside or downside.
And I think that doesn't matter what risk profile you're using, whether it's 1-to-1 like Zinc or negative R like me. It's tricky. It's really, really tricky to stick with it in those choppy conditions. David saying VWAP breaking. Chill, David. Chill. It's chopped the VWAP up and down for the past how long? The past half an hour. 40 minutes. So
I got a top step 250 account planning to work it exclusively with IBES automated algos. I did see they just launched their 250K accounts.
I love what they're doing with that. It's very good marketing. It's very good marketing with these limited editions, sort of quick release, then take them away. They've and especially these 250K ones as well.
Yes.
The amount of payouts you can get on these, if you've got like 5 of them, for example. Can you buy multiple of them? I don't know if you can buy multiple, but if
they do have you capped on what you can take for a payout.
Do you know what the cap is?
I think you can get like 1 max payout per account before they move you live.
Okay.
So there is a back end on there that they're winning still, but
Okay.
Any thoughts or recommendations? If you're going to use the algo on those accounts, do not touch it. Let the algo do the work and do not have any human input. Don't do anything. Currently down 2.5 points on this gold trade, 3 points now. We'll see if it wants to pull back for me coming up here. I'm going to let this ride until it either hits TP or stop loss. No intervention from me.
I'm going to show some discipline here. For me, this is not an A+ setup.
No, not at all. No. How are you managing your funded accounts with different strategies, markets, and sessions? I have awesome to see that, David, by the way. That gives me very high confidence that they're going to pay out. I just trade different sessions with the different accounts. So last night, I traded gold for Asia on my top one and Blue Guardian accounts. I won't touch those at all during New York today. Vice versa, I won't touch Tradeify or Lucid or My Funded Futures overnight. I'll only use a certain set of accounts for certain trading sessions. If I lose on one set, like I did on Sunday night, I lost 200 on my top one accounts. I didn't even bother touching those for the rest of the day because I have 6 different other sets of accounts that I can go and trade. It's the same. You don't have to have a whole bunch of accounts either. So you can get away with 5 accounts on one prop firm and just trade those 5 accounts on separate sessions or take the trade separately. It makes it a lot easier to prevent yourself from tilting, because if you take a significant loss on one set of accounts, it doesn't really hit you that hard when you can go and trade on another set. If it's really bad though, and this isn't me advocating against copy trading, if you have a tilt day or if you mess up on a copy trading day and you lose your entire portfolio in one trade, it's going to take you months to build that back up, as opposed to diversifying them over multiple sessions.
Yeah, especially for someone like you, because you're trading how many sessions? 3.
Right? I trade Globex, Asia, and New York.
Yeah, I would do the same.
And with the consistency accounts as well, if I hit my TP like halfway through Globex, somehow, let's say we have a really good session for Globex or New York, better yet, I don't need to trade that account for the rest of the day. So I just go and switch over to, so top one last night, let's say I made 600, which is the max I can make in one day, or 375 on the ignites. Let's say I hit 375 and the IB still has like 25% to break. I could, if I wanted to, switch over to my Blue Guardian accounts and take the same trade on there, and then go and take the same trade on a different set of accounts. I'm a big fan of consistency accounts because it takes the urge away to make more than you should. Yeah. The accounts that don't have consistency, like top step XFAs, where you try making your full 4,000 to 6,000 max payout on the first day and then just flip the 150 days afterwards, usually end up blowing up trying to go for more on that first day.
Yeah.
15 minutes left. You can take over again there, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, that is, if I took a trade now and I entered, say, at the IB 75, and then it did something like this, where if I got in, say, there, and then it just continued to chop around for the next half an hour, like, I would have to ask myself, what on earth am I doing? Because look at this, it's just completely chopped for the past 40 minutes. 40, is it 40 minutes? Yeah, 45 minutes. We've just chopped around that daily VWAP. Like, we could not chop around that any more than what we've done at the moment. This is like pure definition. This is like A+ of a no trade day, if that makes sense. And for me now, it's one of those where if, say, price just does this and it surges high here without me, that's fine for me. Like, I'm absolutely fine missing that today. Yes, we got the edgeful data stat. you know, which says we closed, where did we close? We closed here. So we closed between the IB50 and the IB25 in this zone here, 80% stat that we go and take the IB high now. But that's where, for me, this is where VWAP comes in. You know, and that's why I think the edgeful data is amazing, because it just gives me confidence when I'm in the trade. But that's why I love using VWAPs as well. Just because it's one of those where what it could do is it gets me in at the IB75, it then chops for the next 2 hours, and then it completes that 80% stat. You know what I mean? But do I want to be sitting on my desk for 2 hours before it breaks the IB high? No.
This is not at all the market that you should be pushing it to try and make more either.
Yeah.
We Buy Houses UK trade very similar to Mr. Zinc, but I rotate all the accounts with 6 to 7 IBs per day. Wow.
Ooh. Wow.
I think there's no edge because the IB stat only measures how far price is from the level. So the high win rate is exactly canceled by the bad R, the distance forces leaving 0.
It measures how far price is from the level. I don't get it.
Ryan said, not a bad idea. At the end of the spring, I was 1K away from a 20K payout. Then summer came and everything but 2 accounts are now gone. But why are you sitting at your desk when you have a hard TP and stop loss? Take the trade and get off the chair and do something else. I like switching the tab so I don't have to watch it, because then I get the urge to alter the trade. The reason I have to sit here is because you can't have the automatic close orders. If it was on Top Step where it automatically closes your TP when your stop loss hits, then you could do that.
For me, I can't leave it on my, because I'm trading negative R. I don't like to take full stop loss. My edge gets eroded massively if I'm just taking full stop loss on every single trade. So that's why I can't sit here. I like
stop loss is there as a safety precaution too. In case
it's Trump. It's the 10th of July sort of day where Trump comes in and just absolutely tanks it on me. That's what it's for. It's the emergency brake.
But yeah, it's your best. That's what I'm doing with the gold trade right now. I'm currently at negative 38. Statistically, your best approach to trading, the best way that you go about entering a trade, is taking just one. That's your highest win rate. The more you take, and I'm going to continue to say this every time someone asks, every time you take a trade, it's 50-50 that you win, baseline. Every time you take an additional trade or alter your stop loss or manipulate your TP, that's technically entering another trade. That cuts your win rate on that second trade in half. So you can get all the way, if you take 6 trades in one day, your win rate for that 6th trade, the likelihood that you're going to win all 3 is 1.5%. That's without any other added confluences, any other reasons to go up, any other reasons to go down. It's just 50-50 to the power of 6.
I'm just reading here. Is it Danish? Thank you for your not kind words, mate. Appreciate it. But he's saying here, you know, struggled with ICT for more than 2 years, switched to order flow, too complicated again. Came across myself and switched to the IB and finally seen some results. And I think that's where, like, I've been down that road as well. That is the exact road that I've been down. Trade ICT, far too complicated. Tried using order flow with bookmap and stuff, and there's some benefits to using bookmap for sure, but once again it was just confusing me and making me double guess my sort of entries and stuff. And then the IB, as soon as I've come across the IB and trade that, is just simplicity. And then with the maths you're sharing there, Zinc, trading is quite simple at the end of the day, isn't it? And the maths is fairly simple there, so you don't need any complicated strategy. And you know, for Danish and for myself and for Zinc as well, it's the simpler you trade, the better off you'll be. It's crazy how, and I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of sometimes just overcomplicating what I'm doing sometimes, and then my results suffer. Where I am at my best when I am trading the simplest, purest way possible, and the consistent way.
I'll go into the trade for me on my Apex accounts. And I mainly set the TP and stop loss with a lagging execution with the prop from no I'm using bot. I think it's mostly the high frequent, and this isn't me recommending anything. This is just my opinion on it. Most prop firms just measure for high frequency trading bots. If you're taking 1 trade a day or 2 trades a day, I highly doubt they're going to be able to tell that you're using some kind of bot.
Is that an edgeful algo? I'm guessing.
It must be.
Yeah. Always important with the firms as well, just to check they do allow the algo to be used as well.
Yes.
Some firms did. It's one of those where some did, and then they changed rules on that, and I think you just got to keep very up to date with what they're.
Yes.
With whether they will or not. We're getting this push higher now. Let's see if that 80% stat will fill out here.
It's not looking too bad.
No, it looks good that now, to be fair. I'm not going to go in that though. I'm going to stay out of that. Showed some discipline. It's one of those where Tuesday tease for me is not so much of a tease today. This is not a tease for me. This is not a tease. This is a Chop City. We built Chop City. And I'm
if you're on TradeAway, they can detect when it's an automated trade. Yeah, but most of them just have rules against high frequency trading bots. If you're using a trade copier, they can't tell if you're using a algo or not. So if you have one account, like your personal account on TradingView, and every other trade is copied based off of that on like TradeSync or something, it's an algo, and they can't tell because the trade copier doesn't have a log. Trade copier is a bot technically, so it won't be able to differentiate. Plenty of firms allow algos. Yes, they don't allow high frequency trading algos.
Yeah. Are you in your gold position still?
Yep. I'm at -40 at the moment. I'll pull my screen back up. This one's probably gonna just rot me for the rest of the day. This is pretty nasty. 50. I got in just a point below, half a point below the 50. Basically, the IB 50 on this. SPY, I have no interest in getting anything there. And gold, I'll leave. The stop loss is at the high because commodities like to wick a little more aggressively to the IB 75 and then go back down. I did trade gold on, I think it was Wednesday last week. And now as I'm talking about it, starting to get a nasty run up. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't really want. I wouldn't mind taking the long on MNQ, but that might just be over trading at that point.
I just realized when I was showing the 80% stat before that was MES. I'm just looking at MNQ. It's 83. Actually, 83% on MNQ compared to MES.
NVIDIA is starting to push up a little bit.
Someone's asking, it's Danish again. I find ES to respect levels better than NQ in general. How does the ES IB stats compare to NQ? Honestly, I've just been looking now, and they're quite similar in terms of, like, you look here. This is MES right now. Okay, over the past 6 months, IB high form first, IB low break 56%. It's not that great. And then IB low form first break IB high 63%. And then if you just go to MNQ, it's actually the longs work out better on MNQ versus MES, according to the last 6 months. But then we have been very choppy for the past 6 months.
This has been such a slow stream. I wouldn't mind. I'm very tempted to take a long on MES up to the high. I don't know if that would be too many trades though. Would
you take on a different set of accounts then? Obviously.
Yeah, it'd probably be best, but overall chop on the position, it's probably going to take a long time for it to push up.
Wow.
It hasn't taken previous days high, hasn't taken previous days low.
Yes. But it is bang in the middle of previous session low and previous session high. And we've chopped across those VWAPs for the past 45 minutes. They are flat. The wicks are horrendous on the 5-minute time frame. That's like...
I feel like a broken record because for the past several weeks I've constantly said not really much we can do with this market. And there shouldn't be anyone disagreeing in chat with the fact that this has been an impossible market to try to trade, especially during New York on MNQ and MES. You think NQ is a trap? That could be. I'm back to break even just about on gold. The hardest part about this is going to be holding the position because the chop is going to make you, if you're watching the trade, so I just saw myself go negative 120 on that. If I'm watching the trade, I'm going to get the urge to get out and pivot the position along because now it looks better to go to the upside. It's very difficult in choppy markets like this. This is why so many people blow up. Do not make this mistake. It is so incredibly difficult to hold one position. So we're looking at SPY's chart right now. If I entered right at the 50, I'm going up 100. Let's say I was in for like 10 or 8 micros. I go up 100, down 100, up 100, down 100. And I do that 15 times over the past hour. Next time I see myself up 100, I'm going to want to secure it. And then it goes negative 100, negative 200. Now I'm going to want to secure that for negative 200 and flip the position to red or flip the position to short. And now you find yourself in this. I'm going to go to the 1 minute for this because I see a lot of tilt charts that look like this where I go long, I get stopped out, I get my stop loss hit, and I immediately pivot the position to go short. That stop loss gets hit going to the upside, and then I immediately pivot my position to go back long. I get chopped back to the downside. If you find yourself off sync with a market, especially if it's chopping, you're just going to hit stop loss after stop loss after stop loss.
Yeah.
So it's best to, as hard as it is for us to say, because we do want to take trades. I don't know about you, Dan, but I want to take trades.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
If I go like 3 days, which I did last week, it was very hard. Go like 2-3 days without taking a trade, without placing anything. You show up, sit down for 3 hours, 2 hours, and you do nothing. You do that again the next day, and then you do it again the next day, the 4th day, 5th day. You get very eager to go and take a trade, even if it's not a super quality setup.
Yep. I mean, this was my week last week. This Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday was hard. That was really, really hard to go 3 days in a row without taking a single trade. That was just awful.
Steve Keeligan, 44 years experienced trader. He takes 40 to 50 scalps and 20 to 30 pattern trades daily now. In his younger days, he took more than 5,000 trades in a day. No, thank you.
Oh, wow. Wow.
If you have a super large bankroll, that's actually one of the better ways to go about trading because you just take so many micro scalps. That's why, if you guys didn't know, prop firms have rules against micro scalping because it's one of the more profitable ways to go about trading. You see the price go up 2 points and you're in a position for 10 minis. You just made $200. And price moves a point to 2 points every 2 seconds. It's very easy to stack up those wins.
Is anyone in a trade here at the moment? Is anyone long, short,
just me and gold?
MES, anything else? Be interesting to see if anyone's in a trade. Anyone in MNQ at the moment? I'm just keeping an eye on NVDA at the moment. We just got like a nasty wick off that, off the daily VWAP. just there. So also the New York VWAP. So I would just keep an eye on that for sure. That's why I think we're struggling to go higher here on MNQ at the moment for sure. James flat, just waiting. Long, Williams long, MNQ off the IB50. Okay. Where's your TP, guys? Don't forget to put your TP as well, actually. Where are you looking to take profits here? Long NQ. Okay, some people are long. Okay.
I'm tempted to take a long on MNQ, or not MNQ, MES, but I don't think I want to hold it for the next 2 hours. I'm fine with the gold position. If that loses, I'll be down 220 and just call it a day there. I'll give back the profit I made yesterday. All right, guys, that will do it for the stream today. I am going to leave this gold trade running. Stop loss is at 4463. It's not looking too hot. It's up 6 points. I'm down 6 points on it, negative 120 right now. This is what I'm going to leave running into the afternoon. If it hits TP, if it hits stop loss, whatever, I'll just close the position there. But data-wise, we should go take the low. The worst thing I can do is get eager to get in and out of the trade and then just continue to pivot the trade up and down. That's going to cause me to lose more than I should. No trade on SPY, no trade on M&Q for me. Just kind of let these burn for the rest of the day. Anything from you, Dan?
No, just if you're flat already today, you just have to look at the price action from yesterday. Look how that turned out. Or if you just
scroll on screen. Gotcha. This is yesterday.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, so that's yesterday. You know, if you refused to walk away flat yesterday and then kept taking trades, you probably blew up yesterday with that price action. 100%. Today, will it do that? Today, it's a no news day. Monday was a no news day. Today's a no news day as well. Could we get the same price action with it just chopping? Absolutely. So if you're flat today, don't be afraid just to walk away and come back tomorrow. Preserve the capital, mental and financial.
Probably going to take a stop loss on gold, but that's okay. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
See you guys.
So